Hey guys, David Franklin here with Cartersville UNCUT, sitting in the office of the Superintendent for Bartow County Schools, Dr. Phillip Page. Phillip, listen, thanks for taking the time just to spend a little time and talking about what's going on in school systems and stuff like that. You're always so nice and gracious and accessible, so thank you.
Well, glad to be here, and I'm always excited to talk about the great things going on in the Bartow County school system. We've had a remarkable year. You know, COVID certainly has had its effect on all school systems, but I'm so proud of the work that our staff has done during this pandemic. I do believe that our community has been well served by our school system. Our teachers have been phenomenal. They've showed up to work. They've said, you know, we understand why we have a job. We understand the importance that we have, not only in our students' academic good health, but also their mental health. And so they want to make sure that all of our students, even during the last year, but certainly this year, our students can have an in-person instructional experience that's as good as anywhere.
Phillip, all across the nation, all of us hear these stories about just negative stuff with school systems, but some of the statistics that I'm hearing coming out of Bartow County Schools are pretty impressive. So what are you celebrating looking backwards? What are you celebrating?
Well, first, celebrating a national award we got. We won an award for being a model PLC school district, and that is an award that is a national award, but you have to have 3 years of growth and 3 years of results where you're getting better for all students. So we were recognized this year as being a model PLC
and
school
listen, that's in the middle of a pandemic, isn't it?
It is.
Listen, that's pretty impressive.
It is.
And so not just you, but to a whole community, pat yourself on the back. So
yeah,
keep going.
Happy with that. We were only the second school system in the state of Georgia to receive this recognition, only the 26th school system in the country to win this award. So very happy about that. Since then, we've had 7 schools be recognized as model PLC schools, and we expect to have more getting that recognition before this year is up. But along with that, which is a wonderful testament to the work being done, the focus on learning that we have in our schools, but also we had the highest graduation rate ever last year. We had all 3 of our high schools with a graduation rate over 90%. We had the highest SAT and SAT scores. Where the first time ever we beat the national average.
Whoa, wait. Let me just pause right there. So in Bartow County, we beat the national average in SAT and ACT scores.
First time.
Listen, that is awesome. Pat yourself on the back again. But hey, listen, you know, that's awesome. Keep going, Phillip.
I appreciate it. Thank you for that. But loving to see the work that we're doing. When you look at our students and the challenge that they're getting in their schools or high schools, we have more students taking advanced placement classes than ever before. More students scoring 3 or higher, so earning that college credit. Our College and Career Academy is continuing to allow our students the dual enrollment credits that they offer our students, and graduating students from our College and Career Academy, work ready. I mean, these students are being interviewed by multiple companies, and they are work ready when they leave our College and Career Academy. So we're excited. Whether you're going in the military, you're going into the workforce, or you're going into college, you're getting what you need in Bartow County Schools, and I'm excited about that.
Listen, that's an awesome thing, and I've been watching it. I was at Eggs and Issues when they did a little thing on middle school and high school up there, and I was so impressed with the presentation that the education folks in Adairsville did with the business community, and it was an emphasis on, okay, let's get ready to go to college, but let's also get ready to go to workforce, because not everybody wants to go to college. Yes. And so I just really I just sit there and was blown away by the statistics and numbers that I heard. So.
And I do think that's important for school systems to remember. You don't want to get, say heavy on everyone's going to college or everyone's going into the workforce. You want to make sure that you have that balance. And in a community like Bartow County, where we do have a lot of people moving in, but also a lot of generational families that are here, we have to make sure that regardless of what gets that student excited, regardless of the passion that they have, if it is going to college, if it is going into the military, or if it is, you know what, I want to graduate high school and I want to start making a great living and start a family and start that time of my life, it's our responsibility to make sure, regardless of that, where that passion is, that we're going to allow you to do it at a high level, and we are doing that here in our school system.
I talked to one of the guys that just graduated from Bartow County Schools, and he's going to be a welder. And by the time he's 23 or 24, he'll make more money than me. And I'm like, good for you. But, you know, that's a great example of somebody who's getting to follow a passion that was encouraged. So listen, now we're gonna take a little break. I'll be right back, and I'm gonna ask you, as a leader, how have you led through this pandemic? Because I mean, across our community, whether you own a business or you pastor a church, I don't know of anything that's been more challenging than leading and how to figure it out. So I want to get into your mind just a little bit about how you lead. But then we're going to do a segment, not this next one, but I want to talk about what's coming, because if you've done this well during a pandemic, what's it going to look like as we get out of it? So we'll be right back. Hey, David Franklin here, back with Dr. Phillip Page, Superintendent for Bartow County Schools. And Phillip, we've been talking about, and what a great, you just were rattling off success after success after success. And that's been during this whole pandemic that's been so disruptive. But I want to pick your brain just a little bit about, how did you lead during that? Because the medical information that you were getting was the same that all the rest of us were getting, and it was all over the map. So how did you go about, how do you lead when you've never had to walk through something like that before?
Well, it's not easy, and it's really hard if you're trying to lead in isolation. So one of the things that I want to make sure that I always do is that I never find myself leading in isolation. You got to make sure that you're leading with collaborative teams around you, and that is a part of the Bartow County school system. So what we were doing at a time in which there was a lot of uncertainty with COVID is we were looking at the numbers, and we were making sure that we had, the information that we needed, one, for safety, but two, to ensure that we were providing our students an opportunity to continue learning. And in-person learning is the best route. I mean, everyone can see that now. There are reasons that students need to learn from a distance, but in-person learning provides that student the best quality of education. So what we did is we started having conversations about what it would look like. What will we be able to do? What options can we have with safety as a priority, but understanding the importance? I mean, our fundamental purpose is learning. We can never forget that is our fundamental purpose. So we have to stay focused on that purpose. So if your fundamental purpose is learning, and you know that learning takes place better in person, then that's what you got to get to. And so we came up with several different options, and then met with our parent advisory committee and met with our teacher advisory committee, and we had several meetings with them about what it could look like. And we wanted to make sure that we had the support of our parents and our teachers moving forward. Because if we didn't, then we would need to pivot. We would need to do something else. But I applaud and commend those members who serve on those two committees, because in lockstep with our System Guiding Coalition, they came up with a plan that not only addressed the safety issues that have been about due to COVID, but also a plan where we could ensure our students and families who wanted that in-person learning could continue to receive it, while developing a distance learning program that would provide the best option available in a distance environment. So we went through different scenarios. We had our collaborative teams make recommendations. Each group that looked at it made a few changes. And when we came out of it, we had something we could recommend to our board, and we could show our board, hey, our parents want this, our teachers want this, our System Guiding Coalition, they're in favor of this. And so now I ask you to give your input, and let's get something that can work for our families and for our students and our community as we move forward. And we were able to do that.
Phillip, and I want to applaud you, because the longer we've walked into it and all the statistics are coming out, from what I've seen, Bartow County school system looks like it's the cutting edge of how to do it right, because we see a lot of different stuff. But guys, just to kind of rehash, and what he's talking about is just some highlights from leadership and just living life. What's your purpose? And don't live in isolation. Mm-hmm. And you putting people together, there's wisdom in the counsel of many. And you didn't do it with just educators. You actually have a parent advisory committee. And it's fun to walk through those things, and everybody tweaks it a little bit, don't they?
Yeah, they do. They let you know what they're most passionate about, because passion does play a role in all that we do, whether it's education or your family, your job, your faith. Passion is something that drives in that decision making, and so we were able to bring that out in all of our meetings. And but at the end, we had consensus to where all of those groups which make up our community saw a path for success, not only for our school system, but especially for our students and teachers in that school system, in our school system. So it worked well.
You know, it is working well. It's kind of amazing when you're smart enough to know that you don't have all the answers and get a bunch of people together, and they make you look good, don't they?
They make you look good. I found when I make the decision myself, the success rate's not nearly as high as when I include others.
You know, I'm old enough to look back and say, I've done the same. I've done the same thing. Phillip, this is chasing a rabbit. I'm going to tell you that the pandemic, one of the things that was near and dear to my heart still is all those mentors we had for Read to Grow.
Yes.
So many of them, you know, all the kind of things. We've got to get that geared back up. But one of the things that we're seeing is that the community can play a huge part in investing in the lives of kids. And that's one of the things that, and we're going to talk about the future, but that's one of the things that I'm convinced even more today than ever before, that a community and a school system working together, that's how you flourish.
You do. You flourish, and I want to commend our schools because they embrace our community. They accept the community coming in. They want that, and because they see the value in it. And I've had so many conversations. You know, we were up over 500 Read to Grow volunteers before the pandemic. But what really surprised me and touched me during the pandemic was we still had over 100 volunteers, 100 who were still coming to work with our students in Read to Grow to ensure that third grade proficiency in literacy. And so for them, when we had that luncheon for them, it really was touching to see them, and because it was still mostly our senior adults who were coming in because they know how much that means, and they just wanted to ensure that our kids were not going to get left behind, and they made it work. And I have had teachers tell me that our students are better prepared because they can see how working with them in those sight words has paid off, and they didn't just keep getting further and further behind.
Now listen, I'll do a commercial in next section on the whole thing of volunteering in the school system, because I'm telling you, you can make a difference that way. So listen, it's fun to be able to pick your brain and see how kind of you lead. The guys, we're going to take a break. I'm going to be right back, but I'm going to ask Dr. Page a very simple question about, okay, 2022, the rest of this school year, but starting this fall, what do you anticipate and what's on the agenda? Because I've gotten to know you well enough to know there's always something that you've got these people, these guiding coalitions working on, and it's really fun to see the energy and synergy. So we'll be right back with what we can look forward to. Hey guys, David Franklin back with Dr. Phillip Page, Superintendent for Bartow County Schools. Phillip, we talked about some of the great things that's been happening in the school system, but I know you're a futuristic guy and you've got all these guiding coalitions working. It's been really fun to watch you do that. This year, 2022, what's coming? I mean, what momentum are we carried into, and what's coming?
Well, in a professional learning community, it's not a program to complete, but as we say, it's a process to perfect. So we are continuing, even though we're a model PLC school district and we have 7 model PLC schools and more to come, we still have a lot of work to do. We still have a ways to go in trying to perfect what we do. So we're going to continue to get better in that system. We're going to continue to ensure that we are teaching the essential standards that are most appropriate. We're going to continue to create rubrics which allow our students to understand what they need to know to be proficient, and to continue driving that proficiency rate up, because that's what we're looking for our students. We understand that we have a guaranteed and viable curriculum that regardless of who you are, we're going to ensure that you show proficiency on the essential standards so that you'll be successful when you move to the next grade level. So there's a lot of work in that area, a lot of work in assessments, a lot of work in grading, a lot of work in continuing to have that Tier 1 instruction, which is the first time you get the material. We got to continue to get better at delivering that the first time around. But where we were and where we've come is phenomenal. We have something called the A-Team recognition in Bartow County, which is the collaborative teams who show a high functioning proficiency in what they need to do for their students to be successful, and we continue to have A teams get recognized. And these are collaborative teams who have mastered this process, and their students are benefiting from it. So in that realm, we're going to continue to look for more A teams to be recognized through their great work. We also recognize that through the pandemic, even though we were in person, we have students who are struggling mentally. And so one of the things that we are partnering with our community, as you know, is a initiative called Someone Cares for You. And that stemmed from a subcommittee from our guiding coalition, because one of our barriers was students' mental health preventing them from learning. And again, our fundamental purpose is learning. So keeping that in mind, we always have to address those barriers that come about that prevent our students from learning, all students at high levels. So as we came through the end of 2020 and through 2021, we did start to recognize more of our students struggling emotionally. And so putting that subcommittee together, looking at best practices on how to go about assisting our students and families in this area has led to an initiative, which I know you're heavily involved in, and I appreciate you for that. But we're going to be rolling it out in phases, but it's going to be a great support for our students.
And guys, what he's talking about, we'll do another one just on that because it's so big. But I know if you've been watching the national news, the emotional wellness of not just students but the whole community, so many things like anger and suicide ideations and drug addictions and stuff like that, adults, it's been rising across the nation. And I applaud you for saying, hey, you know what? That becomes a barrier to students learning. Yeah. And so I've been going up, and you know this, I've been going up to one of our middle schools and meet with students and just listening and saying, how can we do something with them? And it's amazing to me to listen to these students talk about what stresses them and the impact of it. And but it's real. And for y'all as a school system, and not y'all, okay, you're doing it because I'm part of that team that involves the community to say, what can we do about this to do that, which that's going to be a big thing. Phillip, real quick, listen, the magnet stuff that's happening at the schools, I got to go around and look at that. I was really impressed by that. And, from that to the Career Academy, I've just been really impressed by some of the stuff to where if a kid wants to chase a dream of theirs in medicine, they can, or in engineering. I've been so impressed by that. Are you going to continue to expand that stuff?
We are. In fact, we have our next induction of students, our next year's rising ninth graders who have applied to one of our 3 magnet schools programs, and they're going to find out if they've been accepted in February, and they'll have a chance, just like when you go through the college acceptance process, those magnet programs they were accepted into, they'll get a chance to visit those schools one more time and then pick where they want to be next year. And one of the reasons our magnet programs came about is a few years ago our guiding coalition recognized that we didn't have as many options for our students who wanted to go to those elite colleges and universities. We did not have opportunities for our students to be in those classes that are most rigorous, which are the advanced placement classes. So we've extended the number of courses that we're offering through our magnets, but the good thing is even if you're not in the magnet program, you now have exposure to these AP classes created due to the magnet program. So whether you're interested in engineering and math and science at Cartersville, or the medical sciences at Woodland, or international studies, where Cass High School is currently offering 6 different languages, it is.
That's crazy.
It's we have something for all students.
To think that a student in Bartow County can be talking to somebody in another classroom in China is mind-boggling, or France. I mean, to be able to do that kind of stuff is really, really amazing. Phillip, am I right in saying you're going to get? Well, I heard there was a rumor about you that you just graciously push to keep achieving excellence. Is there any truth to that rumor?
Well, I work with a great group of people who want to achieve at the highest level. Our system, Guiding Coalition, leads this school system. Now, I have the privilege of being a member of that, but make no mistake, our our school systems guiding coalition, that's the leadership of our school district, and without them we would not be anywhere close to where we are right now. And I'm so proud of our achievements, where we've come, knowing we've got a long ways to go. But that group is special, and I just appreciate getting to work with them every day, and then being able to see how the work that's done at our system level is then carried over into our local schools. And so, our system guiding coalition is kind of a mirror of what's going on in the schools, and the collective teacher efficacy, their ownership in what we're doing is just special. And because of their ownership, and because they know through the results they're getting that they are making the difference in our students' lives and their achievement, that's just what drives the entire professional learning community that we have.
Listen, having lived in Bartow, having lived in Cobb County a while back for 9 years, and wife's family is where she's from down there, I keep bumping into people from down there. They're like, we wish we had Phillip Page back in Cobb County. So, I've heard that more than one time. So we're just proud to have you up here. And thanks for including and involving a community, because I think you're right. I think when a community in education and business, everybody can work together, I think it makes for a way better kind of experience.
Yeah, the work isn't easier, but it's certainly a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah. Now listen, we'll come back. I'll get David Paul to let us do this, but this fall, we'll do it during the summer, talking about how to not just, those kids that trauma and stuff like that, the impact it has on education, what school system's going to do to help meet not just the academic challenges, but the emotional challenges, because they do go together. They do go together. So listen, I'll be back with him, and we'll do a whole segment on this stuff. You'll be fascinated by the research, because it has blown my mind as I've learned more and more about it. So we'll be back some other time. But Phil, thank you for meeting with us and just talking, and thank you for what you're doing. And man, we as a community celebrate the fact that our schools are not like some of the other schools we hear about. I won't mention any places in the nation, but we're just excited about kids. All y'all have done, that kids are moving forward and making progress here.
And they are, and we're excited about it.
Listen, and if you see this guy out running, because he runs a lot, honk your horn at him. That it really is him. People ask me, said, I think I saw Dr. Page running down the road. I said, probably so, because I know you run pretty much regularly, don't you?
I try to, yes.
Yeah, that's why he's so slim and fit. Listen, thanks for joining us. And guys, sometimes when you think, okay, what can I do? Say to a teacher, to a bus driver, to a superintendent, thank you for what you do. A kind word, an encouraging word goes a long way, and that helps us as a community. So go be nice and kind and encourage somebody. God bless you.